If you could have a drink with anyone in the theater world, who would it be? I'm Anthony Caporale, and I'm running through my list. Each week, I'll sit down with cast members, bartenders, and personalities from New York's theater district and get a behind-the-scenes look at what it's like to live, work, and play on Broadway. Come have a drink with us on Broadway Bartender. Welcome to Broadway Bartender. My name is Anthony Caporale. We're here at New World Stages in the heart of Manhattan's theater district, home to my show, The Imbible, A Spirited History of Drinking. And today we're going to start out with a pretty cool drink called the Deja Vu. And as always, you'll figure out why as soon as I introduce our special guests. This is a vodka drink, and we're using Crystal Head vodka today. And it is vodka and root beer. So I'm going to do about 1.5 ounces of vodka, and this is really, really easy. Just over ice in a tall glass, and I'm going to top it up with some root beer. Now, the key to this drink is using really, really high quality vodka, and as I said, my choice today is Crystal Head, and also really, really good root beer because it's the only 2 ingredients in this drink. And that's all there is to making a Deja Vu for our special guests from the hit show Groundhog Day. Welcome, guys. We have Vishal Vaidya, we have Travis Waldschmidt, and Michael Fatima. Did I get all that right? I'm sorry. Fatica.
That's it.
Fatica. 3 is tough for me.
Yeah.
I knew I was going to say Fatima because I'm a fan of the old song from the 60s. Okay, Gentlemen, cheers.
Cheers. Thank you so much.
All right, so let's try this Deja Vu. Get a little stir there.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically alcoholic root beer. How you
Yeah.
gonna go wrong with that?
Exactly.
Awesome. All right, great. So, Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite movies of all time. When I heard that it was actually coming to the stage, I was thrilled. But I kept thinking to myself, how the heck are they going to do this? And from what I understand, not too easily. There's a lot that goes on in this show, right?
Yeah,
Something like
yeah,
300 costume changes. You got turntables all over the stage,
Yeah.
crazy stuff. All right, so who wants to tell me about what it's like bringing this iconic movie to the stage? I'm just going to throw it out there, and you guys fight amongst yourselves.
Well, the amazing thing about bringing a movie to the theater is that you can play with time in different ways, and this movie is all about this guy living one journey and living the same day over and over again. But you want to see different parts of each of that day. You want to see him with different people, and you get to know each of our characters very well so that you can kind of relive his day with him. But we have 5 turntables on the stage, so they're really able to shift time around visually. They use the music that Tim Minchin wrote to really highlight parts of his mood and how he's reacting to us. And they've really taken the linear timeline of the movie and made it completely theatrical. So honestly, I think it has transferred very seamlessly to the stage.
Really? So now, again, for our folks who may not be familiar with theater terminology, when you're saying turntables, they're not DJs up on stage spinning wax. These are, right? Explain what we're talking about here.
Yeah. So everyone knows Les Mis, the turntable. That's the most iconic one. That was just one giant turntable that moved. So we have one giant turntable, we have a medium revolve, and then we have 3 revolves in the middle of that. So it's kind of like the face of a watch, which I think Rob's idea when designing it was playing with time, the face of a watch. So it's able to independently rotate as one, or you could do 2 and they can go in opposition, or you could do everying moving as individual units. So
And this is on the stage. It's what you're standing on.
the entire stage turns circularly.
How big are we talking about? Like literally the whole, as the
Stage
longest.
is 25 feet.
The
by
entire
25
thing
feet.
is a circle.
Yeah.
And it turns interdependently of itself.
And then on top of that, you have, did I get it right? Is it 300 costume changes or something?
300.
Yeah.
300.
Yeah.
Somebody actually counted.
Well, so we have, that's one of the big things in our show is we have to turn like that on a day. So the next day is going to happen again really quick. You have to run off stage, and within the next 10 seconds, you're back as a different character.
Mm-hmm.
So I personally do 29 costume changes in the show, which is the most.
He has the most of it.
Wow.
One of which
So-
is only 5 seconds
Yeah, one
long.
is 5 seconds. I run off in a full parka hat, and I come on as a band member with a trombone.
Holy
And it happens within 5
cow.
seconds.
Okay, I need to talk to you because we just did our new version of the show, The Imbible Day Drinking, and we have some what we thought were pretty tight costume changes. But dude, nothing like this. Can I hire your dresser? What's going on?
It's amazing.
Sure.
Kyle, thank you. I love you.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
dressers,
Is it just
yeah.
one person?
Yeah,
No,
one person
for
that
him.
dresses
For you.
me.
I think we have 8 in total.
8 total.
And they are running around. So with the day starting at the top of the day over and over again, it's not like you just, discard things and then that's it. Like in most shows, you have to start back over again. So the crew and the wardrobe team and hair, everyone is running around resetting everything. So as soon as we discard something, they have to track it back across stage so they can be in the same spot.
Wow.
You should
we're
come
doing the
backstage
same.
and just see
Yeah.
it.
I was gonna say this is like one of those shows where like noise is awful. You should like show the back, right? It would be
People are
amazing.
running, jumping over set pieces. He has to literally
crawl through a car, like double dare. Mark Summers, like
Really?
off
crawl through a
stage
car
to be able to make a
to
change.
go to a 10-second quick change to enter.
Pulls
It's
out of it.
insane.
Again, and this is what I love about talking to folks like this on Broadway Bartender. It's like for the people who don't live and breathe theater, they don't even realize that in addition to everything that they're seeing that they know, there's 8 people backstage whose job is just to help you guys get dressed. Like that's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It takes a village. for this
I mean,
show.
most people think, at least they're doing the costume changes by themselves. You can't pull that off, right?
No way.
Yeah.
No.
Wow.
I mean, a lot of my costumes have magnets.
Yeah.
Because there's not even time to do a button.
Yeah.
So I feel like Iron Man is just like.
Everybody kind of snaps into place.
Yeah, it's dope.
All right, so tell me about your roles in the show.
I play Larry, the cameraman, who's Chris Elliott in the movie. So I'm one of the 3 outsiders who come to Punxsutawney for Groundhog Day, along with Rita, who's the news producer, and then the anchorman, Phil Connors,
Right.
which is Barrett Dawson, Andy Carl. And then I also have a few other ensemble parts. I'm in the marching band, and then have another look. So I have about 20 costume changes myself.
Yeah, because why would they just
Yeah,
give you? Yeah, no.
exactly.
Okay, great. 20. Schmet. Okay.
I play the role of Jeff. He's the clumsy waiter in the movie. He keeps dropping the tray. It's a very small part in this too, but it's a very small part in the movie that they've pushed out. And the good thing about the musical version is you get to learn more of the town because the way he relives the day over and over. So I have a moment in the show that you get to see the whole Jeff instead of just the tray dropping Jeff. You get to see the background. You get to see the background of Nancy, the girl that.
Makes the groundhog noises. Or what is it? What's the line in the movie that she makes funny noises or something? Is that the right character?
His one-night
The one
stand.
one-night
with the
stand,
blonde-
yeah.
She does do that. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know what it is.
Okay.
Danny,
Yeah.
don't kill me. Sorry. So you get to learn these people. You get to learn more about them in the musical, which I think is a really what makes it so heartfelt. Our show is more heartfelt than people realize, and it's because you actually get to learn the town. Where in the movie, you really kind of stick with Andy Carl's role the whole time. So it's really good that you get to see Jeff, and I'm also in the marching band, and and I'm a clumsy waiter. It's fun. I get to.
And Michael, what do you do?
I play a character called the Chubby Man. His name is Jonathan.
Probably not typecast.
Thank
What's
you
going
very
on
much.
there?
No, I wear a fat suit and a
Oh,
wig.
cool.
I have like a full transformation. They've done an incredible job, honestly, making this guy a human. And he's sort of like the barometer for Phil to see what his mood is that day, because he runs into him every day first. So anytime Phil wakes up and leaves his bedroom, he meets the Chubby Man in a hallway, and he says good morning and asks him if he's going to go see the groundhog, and Phil comes back with a retort that very clearly shows the audience how this day is about to begin. So he's kind of like the welcome sign for the town. He's very, very kind and sweet and doesn't see negativity, and Phil kind of throws it all at him. So he's kind of helpful just to test Phil's temperature for each day. It's so fun though. We have a great time with all of our characters.
And you guys just performed at the Tonys, right?
Yes!
I mean, tell me what that's got to be like.
Oh my gosh, it's like a once in a lifetime experience, really. And if you get to do it, you feel so incredibly lucky, because Radio City is, if you've ever been, it is the most unbelievable building. It's huge. It literally is like a barn, like a beautiful barn of the most talented people that you've ever dreamt of being in front of, sitting in that audience. So we all get to share the experience of doing it together, and our show is all about community and about like this town living its favorite day, and then incorporating the people who are from Pittsburgh into the show or into the town and into the day. So to do that together was so fun.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
We've gone through so much as our show, because we've had coming through. We've had our first preview. We had to stop because those turntables didn't work. So we did a concert version of our show for our first preview.
Oh, no way.
So there was that, and then there was Andy Carl tore his ACL 2 days before opening. And so we've been on a roller coaster, and for me, the Tonys was always, we had talked about being this date, like the Tonys is this day, this like had been so far. And then we got there, and we're with this town he's talking about that you learn about in the show, and I teared up because and we do a lot of freezing with time manipulation in the show. We're holding this freeze. I'm looking out at Radio City, and I told them, cookies in the front row. And I'm like, we made it. I was like, oh my God, we made it. We're here. We did it. And I was just like,
How far in advance did you know that you were going to be performing?
Maybe a month.
Yeah,
maybe.
about a month.
After the nominations came out, because we weren't sure, anything can happen. It's New York, it's Broadway. So we didn't know if we were going to be on it or not. And we got nominated, so then we knew.
And in such a packed season of like amazing theater.
Yeah.
So
We had no
count
idea.
our blessings
And
there.
it can be expensive too, but our producers were very generous in having everybody, including all the swings, in the number,
Yep.
which was amazing, again, because of the community aspect of the show. And we have a really great company, so it's cool to have everybody on stage celebrating together, and then to get to go have an after party and celebrate the show and be with each other.
Wow.
I wish we
So,
had some of these.
so
I know.
So once you guys knew that you were going to have to perform on the Tonys, how much of your time was then spent working on that particular piece, like just for the Tonys, or does it translate pretty seamlessly?
Well, unfortunately, our show does not
doesn't.
It doesn't.
at all.
I think not.
Yeah, because
They're not
we
going to give you
don't-
5 turntables
Yeah,
like the
no.
Tonys, right?
Exactly.
We of course asked. They said no. We had a few versions of things they thought about doing, and which meant a few different days of rehearsal to try and figure out what they wanted to do. And we ended up choosing the simplest choice, really, so that we could just live in the story and not be worrying about trying to tie a lot of things in the show together to make one number. So I think we ended up with just a few rehearsals on this particular number we ended up doing, but we had a few numbers.
Yeah. And we couldn't rehearse on our stage because it wasn't big enough, so we would rehearse at the Lyric Theater, formerly the Foxwoods, because they have a lot of space there.
yeah.
They have a big rehearsal hall, which was nice and I thought that was big, and then being on Radio City, I was like, this is massive.
Elephants on the stage.
I haven't felt that sort of awe of how big a
Yeah,
stage
same.
is since I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
And you don't get to experience being on the stage until literally the curtain rises and
Yeah.
your broadcast has begun. So you're literally looking out, and then all of a sudden it's like the cameras
Wait,
and the people.
they don't at least give you like a dress on
we
the
do,
stage or
we
something?
do have
Yeah.
the,
Kind of.
But it's not the same as
not
when,
the same.
the
Yeah.
camera's on and the
Yeah,
audience is
right.
full and
Yeah.
then it hits you in the face. God, what an
incredible.
it was
experience.
amazing, yeah.
Congratulations,
Thank
guys.
you.
That's
Thank
you.
unbelievable. And you got a couple of Oliviers under your belt too for the
Yeah,
show,
I
right?
Dude.
What? Tell me what?
Andy Carl, Best Actor, and he's amazing. And we won Best Musical as well, which is
Wow.
like the Tony, for people that don't know.
Yeah.
It's like the Tony for West End. And
Right.
And it's great for our brethren across the pond too,
Yeah.
because
Sure.
we had the luxury of having the show kind of figured out, but they had to do a lot of workshopping and changing things, and it's so tightly choreographed. So they had to go through
yeah.
different versions. I mean, even for us, every day of the show is slightly different, and so it was kind of a monster to put together. But I can't imagine having that many changes thrown at us all the time. So they really laid the groundwork for what we're able to do, which is great. Yeah.
So tell me about your personal histories with the show, like, and how it fits into your careers. Like, where is this, in terms of, experiences?
Well, this is my Broadway debut, which is pretty great. I feel-
Congratulations, my
Yes,
friend.
thank
Yeah, that's
you.
pretty great.
Yeah, I feel very lucky. It's also the only dance call I've ever passed.
Really?
That's always
We danced together at
We
ours.
did. That's always when the journey ends. They see me dance and they say, "Thank you."
That's the 2 hardest words for an actor to hear.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Whenever someone compliments you, that's when you say, "Ah, I didn't
Right.
get it." This has been pretty wild, and it's a really beautiful story. And what I love is that the book of the musical is really strong. So.
Yeah.
You can really dig into the actual acting work of it, and that's where it all comes from. So it's all very purposeful and real. I feel very lucky. I got an offer about a year ago, and then there was a lot of waiting and not knowing if it was going to happen. And then finally in December, I got the official go-ahead, which was wild.
Must be pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Well, how familiar is your version going to be to someone who's seen the movie like a billion times, like myself, for example.
Well, the same man, Danny Rubin, who wrote the screenplay for the movie, wrote the book for our show. Yeah. So there are a lot of really similar lines. There's a lot of things we had to tweak to sort of highlight the new journey that this Phil goes on. But you're going to see a lot of the same emotions that the guy goes through. He goes through his slutty phase. He goes through his suicide phase. He goes through his angry phase, and they're definitely going to be highlights. There's a car chase in the movie that we very cleverly put onto the stage in a
Really?
It's so
way.
cool.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about that because that's like one of the highlights of the movie when he's got the groundhog driving and.
You're not ready.
Okay.
You're not ready. It's so fun.
Yeah.
Tears, and you're like, oh gosh, like I can't believe this is happening on stage. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so your journey and connection with the show.
So my Broadway debut was Wicked, and I was at Wicked, and this creative team also did Matilda, and I auditioned for that. I got Matilda, so I left Wicked and went to Matilda, and I was in Matilda for 3.5 years.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
I wasn't even in college
I
that
really
long.
enjoyed that show. I saw that like right when it first opened. I really enjoyed it.
I loved it. It was great. I stayed there. It was a challenging role for me. I love this creative team. I think they're brilliant. There's always something you can be working on because what they have given you is so deep. So I didn't feel like I was losing time or not, being pushed. So I stayed there the whole time, and I closed Matilda. I had a week off, and then I started rehearsal for Groundhog Day.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like definition of working actor.
Hello? I was like, oh, thank you, whoever you are.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, and this is my first original Broadway cast, and my first actual role. So it's been really fun for me. It's just been kind of a really nice evolution, and I thank all the gods, all of them. Whoever you are, thank you.
This is my fourth Broadway show. I did closed Matilda with Travis, so he's not rid of me yet. But I joined at the end of the run for Matilda the last 4 or 5 months. And prior to that, my Broadway debut was with Newsies, and I did the full run of Newsies, which was close to 3 years. And then after that, I did She Loves Me. Wow. I played a waiter, actually. I played the busboy. So
that, right?
Yeah, he's way better.
Thank you.
But I was also I was clumsy, but in much less of a charming way than Travis is in this show.
So you're the one who's going to make the drink, because at the end of every episode, we make the drink.
Oh, guys.
So that's what the clumsy
responsibility.
I'll drop it all. Going to be.
This show is so fun, though, because all of our characters as an ensemble are very featured, and you get to know each person, because you need to kind of see how his reaction to each person is different, so you've got to get to know these people. Yeah. So, I mean, as ensemble members, sometimes you sort of have to scrape to be noticed in that way, and this show, it's really laid out for us. Yeah. And we get to, we know each other's characters, and everyone gets to see each other on stage, and we're on stage the whole time. Right. So it's a real special show for us to do, actually.
Well, I mean, it's one of the most interesting things about the movie to me, I think, and I don't know if a lot of viewers realize that, but these little, any other movie would be just a bit walk-on part, becomes a walk-on part 20 times,
Literally.
right? And so you get to know that character like they're a major character, even though they have 1 or 2 lines, but it's just, it's phenomenal, just a case study for human interaction. Everything about the whole story, and it's just wonderful. I can't wait to see it. I got to ask you about one other aspect of the show that I keep hearing about, is that diversity apparently is very important to this production. Can you speak a little bit to that and how you've incorporated that into, what I think in probably the reality would be a very kind of generic middle American town, right? So how does that work?
So we have a lot of diversity of all different kinds. There's racial diversity, ages, sizes, sexualities. It's a pretty amazing thing, given that the show doesn't really have any sort of type associated with any of the characters.
Sure. They're all everymen, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
they're all
everymen.
Yeah, but I think also, and I think this is a smart casting decision, because everyone is so featured as an ensemble member and you have to get to know each of them, everyone has to look very different. They don't have to look any certain way as far as being, 6 foot tall and a dancer, but they have to.
Travis.
But they have to look different from each other, and so the diversity sort of heightens that and lends itself to giving everyone, making everyone unique so that the audience remembers who they are.
That's a fantastic way of explaining it. So, I mean, even diversity for diversity's sake, I think is a positive thing.
Right.
But when it's actually an artistic choice that heightens the viewer's experience and understanding of the show, that's incredible. I didn't even think about that.
And it was cool because it wasn't predetermined. I mean, I read for maybe 5 or 6 different roles in the show, and I was reading, and other people who were going and looked completely different than me. I remember Ray Lee, who's also in the show, we were at a dance callback together, and he was like, "Oh, are you reading for Ralph too?" And he assumed we were both reading for a token role. This is a show where there's more than one Asian, which is rare. As far as diversity goes.
No kidding.
But not for long, hopefully.
Guys, congratulations. I absolutely can't wait to see it. I was excited about it from when I first heard about the show. You want to make another drink?
Yeah.
All right, so are you up for it?
No, I'm up for it.
All right, great. So why don't you come back here?
One more time.
And this is a drink that I can't even say I created this drink because it's just a Greyhound. But I had to do something to kind of make it you guys. So I'm calling it a GROUNDHOG.
Aww.
You know? So I figured I would stick with the vodka. So we're going to do vodka and grapefruit juice. Well, let's make it and then I'll explain my theory. So those 4 glasses, just go ahead and fill those up with ice.
Oh, gosh. I'm already nervous. I'm really nervous. Okay. All right. Full of it. Oh.
Full. Yeah,
Full of ice.
Perfect.
Here we go.
Yeah. And that's really important. That's something that a lot of folks don't realize that aren't professional bartenders, that ice is actually a good thing. You always want the ice to go right to the top of the glass. Okay. We actually count that as an ingredient. So in addition to chilling the drink, it actually takes a certain amount of space, and it allows the rest of the proportions to be right.
There's
okay.
ice all over the floor.
That's totally fine.
Great.
Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and use our Crystal Head vodka again, and we're going to count to 3. You're going to turn the bottle upside down over each glass and count to 3. And that's going to be 1.5 ounces.
So
Don't
scared.
worry about it.
1, 2, 3.
Perfect.
1,
Make mine a 6.
2.
There'll be no room for anything else.
That's okay.
1, 2, 3. I'm not doing Mississippi.
No, you don't need to
1,
because
2,
you are a musician
3.
and a dancer. Look how consistent your pours were across that. You couldn't. That's like if you used a measuring cup. Fantastic.
Very kind.
So now we have some grapefruit juice.
Okay.
And go ahead and add that. So vodka and grapefruit juice, terrific drink. It's called a Greyhound. If you rim the glass with salt, it's called a salty dog.
All the way?
Yeah, all the way up to the top.
Great.
But if you do what I'm going to have you do, we're going to go ahead and call it a GROUNDHOG. So grapefruit juice, one of the top breakfast drinks in the world, and I figured I would pair it with one of the top breakfast foods in the world. It's also going to let me call it a hog. You know where I'm going. What am I going to put in it? I'm going to put a strip of bacon in it.
Yes.
So you have a plate of bacon, and I want you to just put a strip of bacon right in each of those drinks. A whole strip right down the side.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and you can actually take a straw and just kind of poke it down with that if you
I'm
want.
going to use this one because
There
I
you
touched
go.
this guy.
Did you wash your hands?
Yes, it's vodka.
I'm
It's
fully
all
washed.
good. We're
Vodka's
all
cleansing.
friends here.
Here we go.
And acid and grapefruit juice, trust me, this is
you.
wonderfulness.
Oh, no.
And this is going to be our GROUNDHOG.
Oh my god. That looks
Okay.
amazing.
I'm going to take that straw from you in 1 second.
Yeah, no. I'm
This
just.
one gets 2 pieces.
Yes, 2 pieces is all good. Good?
Thank you. That's mine.
Good.
And one more. Here you guys go.
And let's see what we think. Oh, do I get the one with 2?
Absolutely.
Oh, I feel special. I love it.
He knows.
Hey, cheers, you guys.
Gentlemen,
Cheers.
cheers. Thank
To the
you.
hog.
Yeah, let's
Oh,
see
good job,
what we
Patty.
think.
Thank you. Oh, yeah.
Does that work?
What's
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, you can see how the bacon works in there, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You can always put bacon in.
Vishal Vaidya, Travis Waldschmidt, Michael Fatica.
That's it.
I got it right this time. From the hit Broadway musical, Groundhog. Guys, thank you so much for coming. This has been a blast.
Thank you.
Folks, you can follow us as always, BroadwayBartender.com for recipes and links. Tune in next week. Drink well, drink responsibly.
Thanks, you guys.
That's pretty good.
Thank you very
I like
much.
the
So
bacon.
good. I like
Yeah.
the bacon.
So good.
Nom nom.
Great.
Guys, thank you. That was
Yeah,
great.
thank you.
Really
very
good.
much.
Really good.
Keep holding this.
Bravo.
That was
did
5
it.
for you, huh?
That was 5.